Okay, so how to write the general form of the given standard form of equation of a circle? So as we all know that the general form of the equation of a circle is being denoted by the notation uh, x squared plus y squared plus dx plus ey plus f is equal to 0. This means that we are going to write the quadratic term of x followed by the quadratic term in y, followed by the linear term of x, and then followed by the linear term of the y, and then plus the constant, which is f, and should be equated to 0. So let us try have the solution. Okay, so number one, we are going to express x squared plus y minus 3 to the power of 2 is equal to 9. Okay, so for x squared will be rewritten. The y minus 3 squared will be expanded using special product. So we are going to square the y. So this is minus, so we have minus. Then the product of 3 and y will be times 2, and that will gives us 6y, and then after which we will be squaring this 3, and it's 9 and is equal to 9. And now we are going to adjust them into uh, the notation of the general form. So we are going to write the x squared followed by the y squared, and since the dx, this one, the linear term in x, there's none, so we are going to go directly to the ey, or the linear term of the y, which is 6y, and then the f refers to the constant, so we are going to rewrite the 9 there, and that 9 on the right will be transposed, and this will be equal to 0. So we have x squared plus y squared minus 6y, and then that gives us a 0. So therefore, this is already the general form of that number 1. Okay, so let us proceed this equation. X squared plus y squared plus 2x plus 8y plus 12 is equal to 0. So far, we are going to group them according to variable. So x squared plus 2x will be grouped, while the y squared and the 8y will be also grouped. And as of the moment, we will be transposing the positive 12 to the right. Okay, and then as for this time, we will be completing the x squared plus 2x into a perfect square trinomial. Okay, so we will be having that first, and then the next is this one, the y squared plus 8y. Okay, the y squared plus 8y. Okay, plus blank. We will be completing it later. Okay, so this time we will be making them a perfect square trinomial, and the process in making them a perfect square trinomial is always look for the numerical coefficient of the linear term. So when we say linear term, it's the variable with a 1 exponent, so with exponent 1. So the 2x has a 2, and this is always a rule that we will be dividing it always by 2. So 2 divided by 2 will be 1, and then we square always the result. So it's a 1. So we will be adding a 1 here. Remember, we add a 1 on the left, so we will be also adding a 1 on the right because this is an equation. The next one is how to fill in this blank. The 8 there is our numerical coefficient, then always divide it by 2. So therefore, it will answer is 4, and you square a 4, and this will be 16. So we will be adding a 16 in here. We will be also adding a 16 on the right. So as of this time, the entire given, this one, this will be already a perfect square trinomial. So if this is already a perfect square trinomial, we can express this into a square of a binomial. And how? We will be getting the square root of x squared, which is x. And then since the linear term has a plus sign, and that we will follow, And then the next term will be taken from the square root of the last term of the trinomial. So the square root of 1 is 1, and this will be raised to the power of 2. So x plus 1 quantity squared is the binomial equivalent of x squared plus 2x plus 1. So let's proceed to the next, this one. So we have a plus, and then the square root of y squared is y, and then the square root of 16 is 4. Okay, so remember that the sign of the linear term will be always followed for our binomial. Okay, and this will be raised to the power of 2. And negative 12 plus 1 will gives us negative 11 plus 16. Thus, it will gives us a positive 5. And so far, this is already the standard form from the given general form. Okay, so we can now conclude that from the x squared plus y squared plus 2x plus 8y plus 12 is equal to 0, from this general form will be now x plus 1 squared plus y plus 4 squared is equal to 5. Okay, so this time we will be writing the general form of the given standard form of equation of a parabola. Okay, so let us have number 1. Okay, so far our general form is being denoted by ax squared plus bx plus ey plus f is equal to 0. Okay, so let us start test number 1. Okay, so number 1 is x is equal to negative 1/2 y minus 2 squared plus 2. Okay, so the first thing is we need to isolate the 2 there as our denominator. So isolating them is by using the 2 as our common multiplier both sides, left and right. Okay, so therefore we will be multiplying a 2 on the left and 2 on the right. Why 2? Because our denominator is 2. So for that, we will be distributing the 2. So we have 2x is equal to, and so far the 2 will be also multiplied to 1/2, or in other words, whatever the denominator, if it is same with the multiplier, we simply isolated the 2, or because it answers 1. 2 times 1/2 is equal to 1. But there is a negative in there, so that will be negative 1. Okay, and then we just rewrite y minus 2, and then plus the 2 will be multiplied to 2, so it will answer is 4. So next is we are going to expand the binomial y minus 2. Okay, so expanding it, we have y squared, so negative 2y times 2 will be negative 4y, plus the square of 2 will be 4 plus 4. Okay, so the next step we have to distribute. We are going to distribute here the negative 1 to the terms inside the parentheses. So that will be negative 1 times y squared will gives us negative y squared, and that negative 1 times negative 4y will answer is positive 4y, and that negative 1 times 4 will answer negative 4. And then we are to rewrite the 4 because we will not include it in multiplying the negative 1 because it is outside the parentheses. So we are going to simplify it further. So we have 2x is equal to negative y squared plus 4y. The negative 4 plus 4 will answer as 0. So after that, as we are to consider the notation, we are going to transpose all the terms on the left. So the negative y squared will becomes positive y squared, followed by the dx, so followed by the x term, which is 2x, so it's just the same, positive 2x, and then followed by the y term, So that will become negative 4y, and there's nothing left, so this will be equated to 0. And this is already the general form of the given number 1, x is equal to negative 1/2 times y minus 2 squared plus 2. Okay, so let us answer this number 2. Y is equal to negative quantity of x plus 4 to the power of 2 minus 3. Okay, so far there is no any denominator, so what we need to do is we simply expand the binomial square. So we have negative, expanding x plus 4 squared will be squaring the first term, plus 4 times x is 4x times 2 will be 8x, and then squaring 4 will be 16, and then minus 3. Okay, the next step is we are going to distribute that negative. So negative x squared minus 8x, and then minus 16 minus 3. So to simplify further, we are going to gather all the constant, which is negative 16 minus 3 will gives us negative 19. So to transform this into the form ax squared plus dx plus ey plus f equals 0, so we will be transposing that negative x squared to the left, and that will become positive x squared, and then followed by positive 8x. So as we have ax squared plus dx, and then followed by positive y, we need not to change the sign of the y, and then the constant negative 19 will be transposed, and that will become positive 19. So this is equated to 0. And so far, this is already our general form. Okay, so let us now have the given standard form of an ellipse. Let us now write its general form. Okay, so number 1, we have x minus 4 squared over 9 plus y minus 1 squared is equal to 1. Okay, so far we are going to isolate the 9 there as our denominator, because as you have noticed that our general form has no denominator at all. So what we are trying to isolate this time is the 9. So we are going to write it in this way. X minus 4 to the power of 2 over 9, and then plus y minus 1 squared is equal to 1. Okay, so we are going to isolate the 9. Thus, isolating it is by multiplying a 9 both sides. So let us now start. The 9 multiplied to our first term, x minus 4 squared over 9, is simply, we are canceling the 9 because 9 divided by 9 is equal to 1. So we are now writing x minus 4 squared, and then plus, and then so far, our second fraction has no denominator at all except that imaginary 1. So the 9 there will not the 9 there will not be cancelled, but our 9 there is our multiplier. So again, the 9 there is our multiplier to y minus 1 squared is equal to, again, we are done multiplying the 9 on the left, so we will multiply now the 9 to 1, so that will be 9. So the next thing is we need to expand the binomial x minus 4 squared, so we have x squared minus 4 times x times 2 will be 8x, plus the square of 4 is 16, and then plus, do not multiply the 9 yet because we are not yet done expanding the y minus 1. So we have y squared minus 1 times y will be 1y times 2 will be 2y, plus the square of 1 is 1 is equal to 9. So this time, we are going to rewrite the x squared minus 8x plus 16. This time, we will now distribute the 9. So we have 9y squared minus 9 times negative 2y is negative 18y. And then that the 1 times 9 will be 9. And that 9 on the right will be now transposed because our general form is being equated to 0. Okay, now let us now follow the notation of the general form. So to gather all the squared term, we are going to have the first, there is x squared. So we have x squared followed by the y squared. This one will be 9y squared followed by the x term with a power of 1. So that will be negative 8x followed by the y term, the linear term in y, and we don't have any other except that negative 18y followed by the e. The e that refers to the constant. So our constants are the 16, the 9, and the negative 9. So far, the negative 9 and the positive 9 will gives us a 0. So the remaining there is, our constant is positive 16. And so far, this is already our general form of the given standard form. Okay, let us try this example number 2. We have x plus 3 squared over 16 plus y plus 1 over 9 squared is equal to 1. So we have 16 and 9 as our denominator. So we are going to use this as our multiplier because we want to isolate the 16 and 9. Okay, so we will be rewriting them first, and then we will be using the 16 and 9 as our multiplier both sides. Okay, so let us do it this way. So 16 and 9 are our multipliers because we have them as our denominator. Okay, so what shall we do this time is by simply, so since we have 16 and 9 as our multiplier, we will now cancel the 16. So the remaining there is the 9 and then x plus 3 to the power of 2. That will be for the first fraction. And then we have a plus, again, the 16 and 9, okay, multiplied to the second fraction, we only cancel the 9. So the remaining there is 16. And that 16 will be multiplied to the y plus 1 square. And so far, 16 times 9 times 1. So what is 16 times 9? So 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 5 is 14. So therefore, we have 144. Okay, so far, we are going to uh, expand the binomial x plus 3 and the y plus 1. Okay, and then we will be multiplying the 9 to the expanded form. So we have x squared plus 3x times 2 will be 6x plus square the 3 will be 9, and then plus 16, then we square a y, then 1y times 2 will be 2y, and then the square of 1 is 1 is equal to 144. So this time, we will now distribute the 9 and 16 to the terms inside. So 9 times x squared will be 9x squared plus 9 times 6x will be 54x followed by 81, and then plus 16y squared plus 16 times 2y will be 32. 32y plus 16. Okay, so far it is equal to 144. So there's no enough space, so therefore we have the 144 on the right, so we are still rewriting it. So to follow the general form, we have to have the 9x squared as our first term in the general form, 9x squared, followed by, so we are done writing it, then the 16y squared, we have 16y squared, followed by the x term, the linear term, 54x, followed by the y term, the linear term in y, we have the 32y, and then followed by the constants. So we have the constants, 81 plus 16. So how much is 81 plus 16? We have 97. And so far, since it will be equated to 0, so the 144 will be transposed to the left. So this time, we will be subtracting the 144 minus 97. So what would it be? 14 minus 7, we have the 7. And then 13 minus 9, we have a 4. So we have, okay, so negative 47 because 144 will becomes negative, and that will be, the result will be also negative 47. So therefore, is this already according to the general form? So we have the ax squared, 9x squared, by squared will be 16y squared. Its equivalent will be the cx, which is 54x, and then plus 32y minus the constant. So therefore, this is our general form of the given standard form of an ellipse. Okay, so how to write the general form of equation of a hyperbola. So let us have number 1. Y plus 1 squared over 9 minus x plus 3 squared over 4 is equal to 1. Okay, so for our denominators are 9 and 4. So this will be our multiplier. Okay, x, we are to rewrite first the given. And then so far, we will be isolating the 9 and 4, their denominators, but isolating them is to have them as our multiplier both sides, left and right. So for this, we are now ready multiplying the 9 and 4 to the first fraction. And in this way, we can cancel the 9 because 9 and 4 is 36 divided by 9 will answer 4. So we copy the 4, and then y plus 1 squared minus, again, the 9 and 4 is divided by 4. The remaining will be 9. So 9 times x plus 3 square is equal to, the 4 times 9 is 36 times 1. Okay, so next, we will be expanding the binomial. So this will be y squared plus 1 times y times 2 is 2y plus the square of 1 minus, again, we are to expand the binomial, x squared plus 3x times 2 will be 6x plus the square of 3, which is 9, is equal to 36. So we are then expanding. We are now ready to distribute. So that will be 4y squared plus 8y and then plus 4 minus, this will be 9x squared, and then that will be negative 54x, and that will be negative 81. We can now transpose the 36 because the general form is equated to 0. So this will be now simplified as to adjust them into the notation. So in the notation, in the general form, the x squared term will be the first. So we will be writing the negative 9x squared followed by the y squared term, 4y squared, and then followed by the linear term in x, which is negative 54x, followed by the linear term in y, then that is positive 8y. The e are the constants, so we have a 4 in 81 and 36. So 81 plus 36, they are both negative. Thus, we have 117. Okay, but the 4 is positive. Thus, our remaining answer is negative 113 for our constant. So far, this is already being arranged according to the general form. Okay, so let's proceed to number 2. Okay, let us have this example number 2. Okay, at first, we will be rewriting the given. Okay, so this time we have the denominators 25 and 9. So this will be used as our multiplier. So 25 and 9 are our denominators. At the same time, this will be also our multiplier. So for this, the 25 and 9 divided by um, not divided by, but 25 and 9 times the x plus 3 square over 25. So the 25 will be cancelled. The remaining will be 9, and that will be multiplied to x plus 3 square. The 25 and 9 will be multiplied to the second fraction, so the 9 will be cancelled. The remaining will be 25. So the y squared will be attached, and the 25 times 9 will be multiplied. So what is 25 times 9? So this is 45, and that will be 18 plus 4, we have 225. So after which we are going to expand the binomial. This will be x squared plus 3x times 2, 6x, plus the square of 3 is 9, minus 25, y squared is equal to 225. This time we are now to distribute. This will be 9x squared plus 54x plus 81 minus 25y squared. We are now to transpose the 225 because the general form word will be equated to 0. Okay, so we will be adjusting this now to the general form. So the first term in the general form is the x squared term, and for that we have the 9x squared followed by the y squared term. So we have the negative 25y squared followed by the linear term in x, so that is 54x, and then followed by, there's no linear term in y, but we have the 225 minus 81, so 225 minus 81, we have a 4, we have 144, so we have 144 as our constant. So therefore, this is already our general form to the given standard form. Guys, if you've learned something from my video today, please do comment below and do not forget to subscribe, like, and share, and to have more video updates. This has been Teacher Justina, and thank you for watching. That in all things, God may be glorified.